And welcome to another edition of Ben's Junk, the show that gives new meaning to the word joystick. Yeah, that wasn't one of my better ones, was it? Anyway, today I've got something that I am very much not the first person to discuss, and that is the Magnavox Odyssey 2 video game console. Not to be confused with the original Magnavox Odyssey from 1972, 73, somewhere in there, in which you had to use these static cling decals and stick them on your nice big tube TV, and because the console could only generate maybe one or two blips of light, so all the other graphics had to be just stuck on the screen. This particular one was released in response to the Atari 2600, which came out in 1977, and this came out in the States at least in 1979, and it was discontinued in 1984. This particular unit, I would imagine, I don't know when it dates to, but I would guess it's somewhere in the middle of that run. I tend to assume that with pretty much anything if I can't find a date on it. So 81, 82 for this particular unit. And this really kind of is just a slightly fancier Atari 2600. Fancier in that it's got a keyboard on it, because there's programs where you can type words and stuff. But um, let me just give you a little story here, because why would I do anything educational? When I found this thing, and it's been probably pushing a year now, but it was just filthy, really filthy, like bordering on mud on it. And one of the joysticks was jammed. It was just, you couldn't do anything with it. And I almost didn't pick this up because, like an Atari 2600, if you've ever dealt with one of those, you can turn the switches on and off all day long, but you're not going to know if it works unless you've got it hooked up to a TV and got a game in it. So it's the exact same thing with this. So I just had to take the gamble, and I got it, brought it home. Took me a while to clean it, but I was really expecting a much worse fix-up project. But as it turned out, it just needed a cleaning, and the joystick, which I don't remember which one it was, but there's a spring underneath here, and it got unseated somehow, the actual stick, and so it was just up hard pressed against the roof of this thing, and it was just lodged in one direction. So I took this apart, and it turned out I just had to reseat the joystick, and so I did that and put it back together, and I don't remember if it's this or the other one, but they both work just fine. Now, interesting thing about this console, almost everything is hardwired, which I don't think I've ever seen another console like that. Granted, I'm not a huge gamer, as I'm sure you well know, but I just thought that was kind of weird. And then, of course, this having the keyboard on it so you could do the typing stuff, they needed to keep it on a leash, so they just gave you a nice long cord, and it's an F plug, so you could just take it way out into the room with you and just do your thing. But strangely enough, the one thing on this that is not hardwired is the wall wart, which I just think is kind of weird. And of course, as I said, it's an F plug, so I have to use one of these bad boys, and yeah. But it works. Anyway, I have a very, very small collection of games, so this is not going to take long. And this is the one I got initially just to test the unit. And it's called Showdown in 2100 AD. And it just seems to be outlaw for the Atari, just on here. And of course, the cartridges just pop in the same old way. And then you have to pop it down. And then I guess with the handle, I suppose the idea was that you could just yank it back out, but I've just, from using an Atari for so long, I just have it in my head that I shouldn't do that. So I tend to just wiggle it out. But this wasn't even seated in the first place, as I'm sure you noticed. Anyway, my other games, Alien Invaders Plus, and these are still in the boxes. Alien Invaders, which is actually just Space Invaders. And then I think this is what came with the system, if I'm not mistaken, way back when. And I've seen YouTube videos on this, playthroughs of all of these. So Speedway, Spinout, and Cryptologic. But that is my whole collection. So, yeah, I know it's customary that I do some tests, and I will. But the thing about these early video game consoles, I love them, but they're a lot of fun to play, but they are not fun to watch somebody else play. So I have some direct feed tests that I'm going to do with this thing, and you can just watch little bits of my gameplay, but it's just going to be that, because it's just not that interesting to watch somebody play this stuff. But other than that, that is it for this edition of Ben's Junk. Enjoy the gameplay.